Hello, my name is Charlene Renaud, and I'm a professional speaker and an author. I'm also the creator of Precious Pinata, educational and therapy character. Today I read a report that blew my mind. It is very evident that we are in a mental health and addictions crisis in this province and in this country and across North America. And I believe that the biggest investment that we need to make as a community and as a country is in early childhood education. Let me read a bit from the report. It's the Children's Mental Health Ontario, the annual report card, the burden of kids' mental illnesses on families and on the economy. So the research, which was done by the Canadian Centre for Health Economics at the University of Toronto, reported that the Ontario economy loses $421 million a year as parents miss work to care for their child with anxiety issues. 1 in 4 parents have missed work to care for their child with anxiety issues. 1 in 3 parents in Ontario are seeking mental health services for their child. Of these, 4 in 10 didn't find the help they needed and are still waiting. So not only are employers feeling the pinch, what is happening in families and communities in this country? 80% of parents or caregivers stated that their work life was impacted as a result of their child or youth's mental health concern. 71% of parents and caregivers stated that their finances were impacted as a result of their child youth's mental health concern. 81% of siblings had to take an additional responsibilities in their family as a result of their siblings' mental health issues. This is in addition to the rising costs of the child and youth mental health crisis to our healthcare system. 72,000 more emergency department visits. 72,000 more emergency department visits, and 14,000 more hospitalizations a year. This is in 1 year in the province of Ontario. This cost an extra $220 million in hospital costs. There is a 72% rise in emergency department visits and a 79% spike in hospitalizations for children and youth seeking help for mental health and substance use problems. So the Children's Mental Health Ontario is making suggestions to the government and has some ideas in mind. And they're suggesting that another $150 million be invested in the community for healthcare projects. I believe that we need to do more, and I believe a big chunk of money can be spent on a product that is so simple and so affordable, so appealing, so transportable that this is going to change lives. This is exactly why I created Precious Pinata, because there is a proven link between childhood trauma and abuse and disconnection to future disease, such as mental illness, addiction, obesity. These are all linked to childhood trauma or abuse. The majority of diseases stem from childhood trauma. So we need to change this. And therapy isn't the answer. It's of course, we're going to provide therapy for people that have gone through trauma and abuse or suffering from mental illness or addiction. But if we don't do something in the front end, then this generation is going to be in the same boat, so to speak. So I created Precious Pinata to address this issue. And I wanted a character that was very soft, appealing, colorful, safety tested, and I even took the time to decide, well, how big does this character need to be? It needed to be so that a child could hold it in their arms. So what makes Precious Pinata so amazing? Well, first I'll start with his zippered belly. Precious Pinata was created from my best-selling book for adults called The Pinata Theory, What's in Your Stuffing, and it's been adapted for kids. So what the metaphor is, what goes inside of you, what goes inside the mind. So inside of Precious, there are 7 different balls. There's the yellow, brown, blue, and they're all big, so don't worry about any little ones choking on the balls. And this is a multicolored one, and one more, the red colored. Oh, sorry. There's the pink ball. Can't imagine all these go inside of Precious, but they do. So Precious Pinata teaches kids about life, real life. I wanted to make sure that it covered everything from A to Z, and that they knew about some things that we really don't talk to kids about enough as parents and as a community. And I'll get into that in a moment. So Precious Pinata has these 7 colorful balls inside of his belly. So what it does is it relates to the child what experience that go inside of us and how this affects us, our stuffing, Precious Pinata's stuffing. So what's in your stuffing? So Precious makes it is always telling kids to share their stuffing, especially when they're upset or angry or feeling anxious or fearful. This is what the brown ball is. It's called pinata poop stuffing. So the child is advised to share when they're feeling any of those feelings with an adult right away. Because if this pinata poop stuffing stays inside of you, over time, this can become disease, such as depression. So you see, people with depression or addictions, they never got help with their pinata poop stuffing. They're holding on to something inside that is painful. And some people have shared with me when they read Precious Pinata's book to the child that it really can be applied to anyone of any age, the lessons in this book. And they recognize some of their own stuffing that they never got help with. So I did write it with that in mind, that it's not only helping the child, it is also a great investment for everyone in the family, everyone in the community. So each color ball is a different color chapter. So the book is presented to the child 1 chapter at a time. And again, it's used by parents, educators, therapists, grandparents. It's a great investment. It's only $49.99 Canadian and about $39 US. And you get the full color book and Precious Pinata. And it's a character that kids love. They drag him all over the place. To bed. One of my neighbors reported they seen Precious Pinata at the golf course on a golf cart. So Precious is getting around. So each color is a different chapter about life. At the beginning of the book, there's a prelude, and it's for the adult helper, and just suggests that they go through all the chapters prior to reading it, and then also be extra mindful about the chapter on sexual abuse. It is very important to talk to our children about sexual abuse. I'll tell you why. 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 6 boys are sexually abused. Those are Canadian statistics. And a large percentage of addictions and mental illness stem from childhood trauma or abuse. So why aren't we talking to kids about sexual abuse? I feel it is very, very important. Not talking to them about sexual abuse is like putting them in a car without putting their seatbelt on. It's very, very important to talk to them because it is so prevalent. It's been hidden for generations. It's been covered up at the expense of children and families. And those children have grown up now and they're having their own issues. They may have issues with relationships, self-esteem, addiction, mental illness. So all these things we need to prevent. This is the direct link. So each chapter, there's also links to US and Canadian stats on sexual abuse. So I think once the parent or the educator looks at those stats, they're not going to be hesitant to read that chapter, because of all the children that are sexually abused in that Canadian study, 95% of the time by someone they knew. So this is what Precious talks about, and that's the red color ball in the red chapter, is about familiar people acting strange. So who are familiar people? And I give examples of acting strange, inappropriate behavior, and some of the tactics that are used by predators. So a child is basically programmed by the predator not to tell anyone. And they'll say things like, you know, if you tell someone, I'm going to have to leave the house. If you tell someone, I could get arrested by the police and go to jail. If you tell someone, I'm going to say that I didn't do that. So Precious shares this with the kids because this is what the predator does to the child. And it's very important for the child to understand that these behaviors, and I give actual examples in different parts of their travels during the day. So it could be an example at home, an example at the babysitter, you know, at school, sporting thing. So they're actually seeing their day. And what is something very odd and unusual? It's much different than everything else in your day. So I liken that into, like, for example, biting into a lemon and how bitter it is. It's like, it just makes you shiver. And there's something that makes you feel really bad inside. You feel, this is really uncomfortable. I've never experienced this before. So you need to listen to that. Listen to the inner voice because it's there to protect you and guide you. So children are taught everything about life, and they're pinata poo, stuffing, sharing, sunshine, teamwork, and cheerful pinatas, leadership. And every chapter has a lot of activities, and then the adult helper will ask the child questions. And this is to make sure that Precious's stuffing sticks in their mind so they never forget this. The chapter, the pink ball, is Pink Pinata Power, support pinatas for a cause. So the Pink Shirt Day in Canada to stop bullying. What is bullying? What to do? Is very important to me and to this country to remember our First Nations people in Orange Shirt Day, if you can see that. Orange Shirt Day is September 30th every year, and it's to remind us about what happened to First Nations, Métis, and Inuit children that were forced into residential schools and traumatized and abused and you know, not allowed to speak their native tongue, and all the horrible things that happen. And the reason why we need to share this with our young children is to instill in them how horrible racism is. And Precious also encourages children and adults to invest in cultural awareness. Go out there and learn about different cultures. And, you know, their dress, their traditions, their food, and get out there and meet them. Like, don't see, this is where racism comes from. It stems from generational belief systems that are very damaging. And it stems from fear of the unknown. And personally, I have an investment in helping First Nations because the story of residential schools really, really hit my heart, and I want to change that. And, you know, it's so important to be culturally diverse. And the red chapter, red signs, uncomfortable or strange behavior with actual examples. And then it's very important, Precious says, do not do what they ask. Stop, say no. And then after each example, Precious says, it's time to tell everyone. It's time to tell everyone. It's time to tell everyone. It's repeated several times so the child really understands, I need to leave and get help. I need to tell someone. Because keeping it a secret hasn't done anyone any favors. The statistics on sexual abuse in Canada is that a predator can abuse up to 70 children in their lifetime. So when we do not report a predator, we're essentially giving them the green light to go out there and abuse other children. So we need to stop that. And as a professional speaker, I give presentations all about Precious Pinata, why he was designed, why he works, because he's based on psychoeducation, about showing children the effects of healthy and unhealthy stuffing, life experiences. I also talk about drugs, Team 911, recycling, Green Earth. There's a challenge in here for children to spend less time watching TV or being on their cell phone or computer. There's actually a CBC report out about Canadian children, and the large percent, I can't remember the actual amount or number, but it was disturbing that a percentage of our Canadian children can't even throw a ball. They're physically illiterate. We're spending too much time on devices, and children need to be out in nature. They need to play in the dirt and have fun. And I also talk about community contribution. And how can you and your parent or your community, your class, how can you all get together and do something wonderful for the community? So again, this is an investment in prevention. There's not a product that I know that covers so much. And I guess I am biased, but I know because I've been in policing for 25 years, I had to go through my own healing, through my own adversity in my life. So I understand what stuffing is all about. And it's all about experiences that are stored inside of us, inside the subconscious mind. And how these unhealthy experiences or generational belief systems, family dynamics, it could be anything that affects our experiences, and that affects us for a long, long, long time. So why don't we start on the right foot, on the right pile of stuffing, right, Precious? We need to start at a very early age. So this is designed for kids 5 to 12 years old, 5 to 12. And again, I've had adults say, I've read this book and it helped me too. So it's something that you can share after you've read it with your child and share it with another family. So they're, helped with Precious Pinata. And yeah, the Precious Pinata, he is a life-changing character. He's not just a toy. If you don't spend the time reading the book to the child, he is just a toy. But this is the package. So we need an adult to invest in presenting the book to the child. And again, it's just old-fashioned, sit down, let's talk about life. But it's done in a way that children don't feel, it's not invasive, uncomfortable. It's done in a fun way. There's parts of the book that's going to make them giggle and really, really, really stretch their imagination. And I had a parent share with me that when she was reading the chapter about sexual abuse, her daughter asked her some more questions that she would never think that her daughter would ask. And Precious is being used by a therapist at West Island Therapy in Montreal. And she's been using Precious with children with autism, anxiety, and childhood depression. And she said that she's been getting very good results. I had a teacher share with me that a little boy in her class was very, very, very timid. He would never speak up. And then she started working with Precious Pinata with him. And she says he holds on to Precious tight. And now he's starting to share his stuffing. So why don't we get back to old-fashioned sit-down connection. Connection is proven to be a great advantage for the child brain. And let's share with them everything about life, just to make sure that we got all our bases covered, because we never know. So again, Precious covers everything from recycling, relationships, mental health, emotions, sexual abuse, Team 911, drugs, and a lot of activities to make sure that they really, really get it. And you can look me up on my website, charlenerenaud.com. And I also have a website for this special little guy. It's preciouspinata.com. And if you'd like to arrange a workshop or have me speak at a conference about Precious Pinata, and I also have Train the Trainers, so I can go in and talk about the design. The design is based on education, psychology, prevention, connection, and that's all we need. We don't need some big gadget with a lot of buttons and lights and sounds and everything else. Children just want to be loved. They just want to be connected and they want to learn. They've just got so much potential, and this is what we want them to have, is the best life possible. And this is what Precious is geared to do. He's building leaders for tomorrow, not people that are broken and need fixing. Let's invest in prevention and talk to our kids about life. And I guarantee that this product does everything that I'm telling you it does, because I've seen the results in children. And it's such a blessing, and I'm so grateful that Precious Pinata was born from my own unhealthy stuffing and my journey. And it was really a blessing. And thank you so much. And anytime you want to reach out and send me an email, my email address is info@charlenerenaud.com, CHARLENERENAUD. And just before you go, do you have anything special to share, Precious? Well, he says I covered it all, so we're good to go. So Precious is a 17-inch character that's about 43 centimeters. And again, he's safety tested. And it's something that's going to stay in your child's life for a long time. And don't be surprised if other characters show up down the road. Right, Precious? I think you need a little buddy. Thank you.